I figured out the secrets to Avengers Doomsday by staring too hard at these clues at Comic-Con. Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and I'm here looking for Avengers Doomsday clues at Comic-Con, where Marvel Studios has unveiled a ton of Avengers Doomsday clues in their booth experience, including looks at character costumes and revealing that a Latverian witch will be part of this movie's plot. A Latverian witch who apparently changes color day to day. A witch of a different color. Since I was able to get a close-up look at these details of these costumes and runes on all of the Doctor Doom set pieces, I wanted to make this special on-the-scene breakdown of everything I was able to see in detail and what I think it means for this movie. I've been meeting so many amazing fans here in San Diego, and a special thanks to those of you who chose to wear gear from our merch store, nerdride.shop, like Johnny in our new Avengers shirt, or Ryan in our Who's Who design. Nerdride.shop, it's a one-stop shop for all the best nerdy gear you can find online. The Avengers Doomsday booth on the exhibition floor of the San Diego Convention Center includes several costumes from Avengers Doomsday. We see James Marsden's Cyclops suit, looks awesome. Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova suit, Chris Hemsworth's Thor suit, Channing Tatum's Gambit suit, Vanessa Kirby's Invisible Woman suit, Anthony Mackie's Captain America suit. You can also look around and find Tom Hiddleston's Loki work uniform that he was revealed to be wearing in Monday's trailer. And I do have to correct something here. It's not the same TVA analyst uniform from Loki Season 1 Episode 2. Now that I can see more clearly, it's actually more of a peacoat made of heavy woven wool. The most head-turning costume was a new character named Latverian Witch. I went back to look at this booth every day I've been here, and every day the witch's robes have changed color, from green on preview night on Wednesday, to brown on Thursday, to purple on Friday. Friday's Purple Witch also has the added feature of a golden mask and golden pieces like armored gloves and this chain that connects the clasps. She overall comes off as more regal than the other two witches before her. Purple is the color of Wakandan royalty. Could we see a variant of a Wakandan sorceress? Or could these purple robes just connect to the robes we saw Clea wearing in the Multiverse of Madness post-credit scene? I could certainly see Charlize Theron's Clea as the high priestess of these witches. Either way, I'm pretty sure tomorrow's witch will be red. Brace yourselves for a scarlet Latverian witch. So who are these multicolored Latverian witches? The Russo brothers and Kevin Feige have made no secret that Dr. Doom is a sorcerer and a magician, on top of the technologist, scientist, and ruler of Latveria, which means that every magical spell that we have seen every wizard, sorcerer, or witch cast in the MCU up until this point, we can assume Doom will also be able to do, including duplication casting, identity cloaking of oneself or things about another, like their name coming out of their mouth, hypnosis and mind control, false vision projecting, like making people see things that aren't there, levitation of oneself or telekinesis of other things, telepathy, preventing other spells from being used against him, like magical eldritch shielding that Doctor Strange uses, and of course, memory wiping. And now we see that Doctor Doom ain't gonna be alone in harnessing the sorcery in Doomsday. He's got multiple witches serving him. In Doctor Doom's lore, his mother Cynthia was a witch who made deals with Mephisto to get powers to vanquish her enemies. And in Jonathan Hickman's Time Runs Out Secret War storyline, Dr. Doom initially disguises himself as a priestly figure named Rabam Alal, aligned with all the witch-like priestesses from another dimension, a group named the Black Swans, before revealing himself as Victor Von Doom. But we have to talk about this. Spoiler warning if you don't want to know about any of the leaks or rumored leaks, you can skip to this time or the next chapter. But there was a dubiously sourced plot leak that, I must say, has had a surprising number of details aligned with the footage we've seen so far. From the idea of Loki visiting Steve Rogers and leaving him a card in which to call him, to Steve Rogers starting this story in the 828 dimension of the Fantastic Four, to Victor initially presenting himself as an ally to these Marvel heroes. Though I do think this leak could be like a description of an earlier version of the movie, a description that added a completely insane opening scene that ended up just being scrapped or changed. But one of the details in this leak is specifically this. Steve goes back to confront Doom, who reveals his true plan to allow the incursions to happen so that he can rebuild the multiverse in his own image and resurrect his dead family. He takes Steve to his castle in Latveria on his Earth. There, Steve meets Doom's followers, masked witches. One of them impersonates Peggy to manipulate him. So the fact that we are now seeing more than one masked witch now, officially confirmed by Marvel Studios at San Diego Comic-Con, I mean, it's just really hard to ignore these parallels. Marvel has, as of this taping, remained tight-lipped about Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange and Charlize Theron as Clea in Avengers Doomsday, but we're pretty sure one or both will have a role in the movie. And since concept concept art shows Doctor Strange aligned with Doctor Doom in Battleworld, as he is Doom's sheriff in Jonathan Hickman's comic storyline. We have suspected that Doctor Strange and Clea will be part of a cult of sorcerers who serve Doctor Doom in this movie, kind of like the Black Swans do in the comics. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring today's video. The last thing anybody wants to do when it's nice outside is spend all day navigating a phone tree to find a doctor, or worse still, sit in urgent care for a few hours because the phone tree was a waste of time. I had a stomach issue after a cookout a few weeks ago, and I just did not have the spare energy to deal with any kind of hassle. Luckily, ZocDoc made it easy to find a doctor near me who is taking new patients instantly. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and choose the right one for your needs. They make it easy for you to see a doctor quickly without having to spend hours looking for one. ZocDoc has more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states with more than 200 specialties. My favorite part is that you can see the doctor's actual appointment openings and instantly book a visit without having to get one on the phone. No waiting, no back and forth, no extra effort when you already don't have the energy for it. ZocDoc helps you get appointments fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking, and you can even score same-day appointments. They also have the option for in-person or video visits. For me, dealing with a stomach bug, it was perfect. I just hopped into a video visit within a few hours of calling, got a prescription, and was back on my feet in 24 hours. Taking care of your health just got easier thanks to ZocDoc. Head to ZocDoc.com/newrockstars to find a doctor that's right for you. Thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring today's video and helping make it easier for all of us to look after our health. So let's try to figure out who these witches could be. Will they be complete randos who stay masked and silent the whole movie? Or when we raise these masks, will they be familiar faces and sorceresses that we've met before in the MCU? Could this be how we get an Elizabeth Olsen cameo as a Wanda Maximoff variant? Could Charlize Theron show up here as Clea? Haley Atwell is confirmed to be in this movie and hasn't been in any of the trailers. Does Peggy Carter show up here? Or is this where Loki's variant Sylvie, the sorceress, comes back? Thor's mother Frigga is a witch? And let's not forget that Agatha all along gave us a full coven of witches who wore different colors. Agatha Harkness in purple, Rio Vidal, aka Lady Death, posed as a green witch, and there's Lily Calderu, Jennifer Kale, Alice Wu Gulliver. If we find out that Doctor Doom has somehow conquered death itself to be the witch in the green robe, hey, if we see Aubrey Plaza's skull face in Avengers Doomsday, I'm gonna lose my mind. But while everyone has been obsessing over the color of these Latverian witches, I keep focusing on these runes and symbols that keep accompanying these posters, banners, and general surfaces. There are actually a lot of runes, and not just individual runes, many types of runes. There's runes on the floor, including one kind on the perimeter and 8 big runes on the inner part, different runes on the big A logo, and then there was that dumb coffee thing in London where they had the Latverian letters, so I guess those were runes too. Lousy with runes, this Doom is. Here's all I can say right now using my powers of deduction. These runes on the big A and on the floor are not the Latverian alphabet, because we already saw those on the South by Southwest London coffee menu. So we're not looking for like a language to decode. And I can tell you that the runes around the perimeter of the A logo are the same exact ones that I did my best to decode back in December in this video around the perimeter of the logo on the countdown clock from the 4 teasers, but they're not in the exact placement now. The pizza pie one that I used as a coda before is in more of the 4 o'clock position now than the 6 o'clock position it was before. But when it comes to the outdoor A logo one, I'll tell you now what I told you then, that there are 17 different symbols here that repeat, and 17 is the magic number of the MCU. The number 17 just shows up in random places more than any other number under 50. And in fact, this might be the 17th 17 in the MCU, which would be wild. But including repetitions, there are 43 total, which is, interestingly, exactly the number of divisions of Battleworld in Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars comic, when you include the Great Wall of Grimm and the 4 separate divisions of New York City. 43. I mean, that coincidental number, 43, is crazy. I took that information away last December, but now, since seeing all of this Doomsday marketing in the last week and hearing confirmations from Kevin Feige that they are, in fact, using Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars as a literal blueprint, I truly do think this is what they are doing. So I think each of these runes represents a different anchor being from 43 different universes that will end up being the champion of that particular division of Battleworld. One of them could be for Richard Rider Nova, the champion of New Xandar, which I think is going to be a universe where the Thanos from the final battle of Endgame actually won Endgame and actually sat atop the throne of skulls that the screenwriters envisioned for him in Endgame, with a variant Steve Rogers' severed head rolling out from him. Meanwhile, the dozens of squiggly runes on the floor of the indoor booth, I think think looked the most like Doctor Strange's Runes of Kafkal memory wipe spell from No Way Home, a spell that Wong said traversed the borders between known and unknown realities. Based off of what that spell did when it went awry, I think makes it very clear that this is, at the very least, an incursion risking spell. And remember, Doctor Strange at one point pulled out a piece of those runes while asking, "What is a Ned?" And he looked at it like those runes represented Ned's very identity. That tells us that these runes refer to people, characters, people who matter. And I think Doctor Doom has his version of it, which is what we see here. And some of these runes are just so unique that they need to be extracted from it, put on the clock, because they represent anchor beings that Doctor Doom has laid out within this clock configuration in order to give us his 43 champions of his 43 divisions of his perfect utopian world. I am going to be sharing everything else that I see and hear this weekend at San Diego Comic-Con and reporting it back to you here on YouTube and to our home base team in the studio for the daily live streams. So please subscribe to New Rockstars and join us for all of our Comic-Con coverage this weekend. Comment down below with your thoughts, and a special thanks to one of our NR Underground subscribers, Jeremy Dunham, for supporting us at the executive producer level. You can get all of our exclusive bonus content by clicking the link in the description below or going to nrunderground.supercast.com. Big thanks to Studio Tech Brian Kim, New Rockstars editors Joshua Stephen Hurd and Abby Freel, and all of our supporting editors for their work on this video. Follow me at EA Voss. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.